I mean, I've been obsessed with Oscar Wilde really since I was a small boy. I was brought up in London. When I was a child, my parents lived in Oakley Street, in the house opposite the house where Lady Wilde, Oscar Wilde's mother, lived. And when I was at school, I met an old gentleman, the founder of my school, who'd actually been a friend of Oscar Wilde's. They were born around the same time. They were friends. In fact, Oscar Wilde's eldest son was sent to this same school. And I asked this old gentleman if Oscar Wilde had ever given him any useful advice. And the old boy said, "Oh yes, it was to me that Oscar Wilde said, 'Never commit murder. A gentleman should never do anything he cannot talk about at dinner.'" And I've just loved the wit of Oscar Wilde ever since. And the best of the wit of Oscar Wilde can be found in The Importance of Being Earnest. I've got involved in this version because first of all, I saw the original tryout. About 18 months ago, I happened to be in Barnes, happened to go to the old sorting office, and I saw this wonderful musical version of The Importance of Being Earnest. And I went in that evening thinking, this is a perfect play. It does not need songs. And I came out at the end of the evening thinking, this is a perfect play, and my goodness, somehow the songs lift it to a new and different dimension.
I came into this very room to meet the director, and the first thing I said was, it's a perfect play. Why muck it up with music? And then I went over to that piano, and the composers played and sang Chasuble's number that he sings with Miss Prism. And I don't know what happened, but I just couldn't stop smiling. And I think I thought then, I'll do it.
I bumped into the lyricist, Douglas Livingstone, who lives in Barnes, and I said, what happened to your wonderful musical version of The Importance of Being Earnest? And he said, we're doing it at the Riverside at Christmas. And he said, do you want to be in it? So I said, well, yes, maybe I could play Lady Bracknell, because I know I'm too old for Hamlet now, and I like to think I'm a bit young for Lear, but maybe for Lady Bracknell, I could be just the right age. For me, it's quite a challenge playing Lady Bracknell. It's wonderfully written. There's some great lines. And in a sense, the character is defined by the language with which she speaks. She's a battleship, but she's also a mother. She's a gorgon, well, she's described as that within the play, but she's also a human being. There's a vulnerability there as well as a strength of character. The look, for me, was the first thing to get right. Then my wife said to me, start with the feet. Once you've got the shoes right, you'll be fine. And so I've spent the last few months living in high heels.
Ah, he's amazing, Mum. I actually get the giggles so badly when I'm working with him. He's so funny. I just giggle, but yeah, he's very, and it makes me think a lot of how I am with my mum, because he obviously says a lot of things, you know, as my daughter we should have these little similarities and tiny little things, but she's also kind of going against the grain slightly, a bit more edgy. She knows exactly where she stands, and she's above everything. What we're doing this Christmas is bringing a lovely production of The Importance to the Riverside Studios, and have been added to it the most exhilarating songs. So this is, as it were, The Importance of Being Earnest, the party version. So celebrate with us this Christmas. I think it really is sort of champagne in a wonderful studio theatre. See you there.